GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show that's as satisfying as canceling plans you never wanted to make. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are talking about how the heck do you navigate this bull run when there are so many tokens. There's new tokens launching every day. There's new meme coins. There's new businesses. We got regulation coming, which is just going to lead to an even more flood of tokens coming. What do you do? You're not going to buy them all. Please don't buy them all. Please don't buy them all. But how do you understand these new tokens? How do you think about existing tokens? How do you even stay on track of all of this? Well, we're going to talk about something very exciting that just came out of the Milk Road team. They've been freaking cooking in the kitchen, and they launched Token Center. Token Center is our new place to evaluate tokens in a simple and easy way. We basically give each token bullish, neutral, or a bearish rating. And we're going to take you guys through 5 tokens from the new Token Center and also talk to you guys about how do you navigate this? How do you think about this market when honestly, not every token is going to Valhalla in this bull run. Before we jump in, we should take a moment to hear from our sponsors who make this show possible.
Meet Odos, the DeFi aggregator that makes your token swap smarter, faster, and a whole lot easier. Tired of trading like it's 2019? Odos finds the best prices for your swaps across 900 liquidity sources and 14 blockchains, so you always get more bang for your crypto buck. Whether you're swapping, setting a limit order, or just avoiding gas fees like the plague, Odos has you covered. It's like having a genius trader in your pocket, minus the coffee addiction. Join 3 million wallets already using Odos to power over 6 billion in monthly trades. Start making smarter swaps today at milkroad.com/Odos.
Kai, Adrian, welcome back to the show.
GM guys, good to be here.
I realized I did introduce you guys, but you guys were just on the show last Wednesday. But today joining us, everybody, we have Kyle Reedhead, co-owner, head of research at Milk Road, and then we also have Adrian, aka Pape, who is our new pro analyst and researcher and really focused on the frontier of crypto. Okay, great to have you guys back on the show. You guys, almost two times a week. We had you on last Wednesday, which was awesome. If you guys didn't listen to that episode, you should go back and listen to it. But okay, let's start with Kyle. We've been talking a lot about what happens in this bull cycle and does every token win? Does every token go up? Probably not. But Trump just launched a meme coin, which probably opens the floodgates for a fuck ton more tokens to come. So how do you navigate that?
Yeah, for anyone that was here last cycle or even the cycle previous to that, there was last cycle anyway, there was about 10,000 tokens max, right? So there wasn't, it sounds like quite a bit, but there wasn't that many tokens, okay? And that was in total by the end of the cycle. So when crypto went up, so when Bitcoin went up or ETH went up, kind of everything just went up. So you've heard me say on this podcast a few times, you could, back in the day when it's the banana zone time, you can just close your eyes, put a blindfold on, pick, whatever tokens you want on CoinGecko, and you're going to do well in the cycle, at least in the banana zone time. And this cycle, that doesn't appear to be happening. And I think a big reason for that is because, well, there is now thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tokens, right? A lot more than we ever had previously. And so the game has completely changed. If you look at meme coins, there's, 50,000 or something tokens launched every, day or month or something on Pump.Fun. The numbers are just insane. It doesn't even make any sense. But then even just normal tokens, right? Where there's actual protocols, actual projects, there's more than we've ever seen. And a lot of them did hold out on launching tokens previously, especially if they were building in the US, and that is about to change very fast. I think you had, when we were at Permissionless, Yano came on and he said there's going to be 1,000 tokens or something launched in the next 3 months or something, he said.
Yeah, he said 1,000 app tokens launched.
Yeah, app tokens, exactly. So this is not counting meme coins.
Yeah.
And I think that's only going to pick up. One, Trump launched the token. Obviously, probably a bunch of celebrities are going to launch tokens and we're going to have that cringe world happen. And so you're not stopping that. AI agents, that's an infinite amount of new tokens coming in. And then of course you have so many more apps that are going to be built because crypto is becoming at the forefront, right? We're talking about it in regulation and politics, et cetera. And then just now, especially in the US where most innovation happens, they're actually going to be able to launch tokens, right? And there's going to be able to put use to these tokens. And so there's actually reasons to launch them, whereas previously there wasn't. And so when you think, we talked about this on Wednesday, some of the best projects in crypto don't have tokens. Polymarket, Pump.Fun, Base. And a lot of that's because they're American companies. And so they're actually scared to. And so now they're going to be launching tokens. I guarantee by the end of 2025, maybe not base, but definitely polymarket pumped up fund. And so there's literally going to be tens of thousands of tokens, if not more. I mean, if you count AI agents and meme coins, then there's millions of tokens. And in that world, the game has changed. You can't just kind of put your money into anything. It's going to be more like the traditional stock market, right? Where like some tokens will go up or some stocks will go up at some times of the business cycle or sometimes of the year or with some narrative or with some whatever. And other times they won't, right? So you can't just close your eyes and punt things. It's going to be, you really got to understand what you're doing and you really got to put in the research. Or you don't buy all these different tokens and you just hold Bitcoin, right? Like that's the easy thing to do, of course. But the game has definitely changed and we're already seeing it this cycle. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, but I mean, we're seeing, the Solana and the Solana ecosystem has done quite well, obviously. Even not even the Solana ecosystem, to be honest, like Solana has done well. A lot of the Solana tokens like Jito and Jupe haven't performed that great over the last few months, right? But you've got Bitcoin, you've got Sol, and then you've got like AI tokens and you've got meme coins that have done really well. And then you have a lot of things like DePIN that hasn't done much, right? Or DeFi that some has done okay, but most have done not so great. And so like it's very mixed these days. And I think it's only going to get worse and only going to get more difficult.
Yeah, it's exciting world out there to be going into this bull run, but a very scary world because this is when everybody fucks up, right? Like this is when you make the mistakes and invest in the wrong things or trade too much. So we want to make sure you guys don't make that mistake, and we want to simplify it for you. Like that's really what our objective is here. Adrian, I want to go over to you and just when you are thinking through a token, an investment, how do you approach it? What do you care about? What do you think about? What do you look at for that token? What research are you doing?
First of all, I should know, is it a long-term or a short-term investment? I mean, we were just talking about it. We have these narrative rotations about every 2-3 months. We have some new exciting topic. At the beginning of last year, we had AI, Bitcoin. By the middle, we had Telegram for a while. Everyone was doing play to earn, but that's
Forgot about that
anymore. Then we had memes, just memes, and now AI agents by the end of last year, maybe also the beginning of this year. So of course, I should always think, is it short term? Is it more a narrative thing? Is it even a trade? Or am I buying this for my long-term investment portfolio? And yeah, the next thing is certainly what's going on with the token. How's the market right now? Do we see liquidity? Of course, we at Milk Road have a huge focus on global liquidity. And is there even money to pump certain tokens? I mean, with Trump, we just saw there is very scarce liquidity in the market because one token can draw basically all the liquidity out of the market, and we saw AI agents selling off tremendously, and all the liquidity flowing into Trump.
When you look at liquidity, are you looking at liquidity of a specific token, or are you looking at liquidity of the entire market?
I'm talking more about liquidity of the whole market right now.
But both does matter. I mean, like one thing to understand is like there are a lot of tokens, especially the meme coins, AI agents that are very small. They don't have liquidity, and that really matters when you want to sell, right? You need to make sure that that door is wide open when you want to sell and get rid of your investment. And if there's low liquidity, you're not going to be able to sell for the price you think. Like Trump, for example, when I say this, like the FDV of Trump's 80% supply that he holds was like went up to like 60 billion or 70 billion that he owned. He couldn't sell all that because there wasn't enough liquidity to actually get rid of that, right? And now that's on the largest scale, but this is true of any token, especially the smaller tokens, which I know is what a lot of people love to get into and try to they try to punt these like new meme coins or these new AI agents. You got to remember that they don't have much liquidity. If they do, then okay, you can sell out, especially in your top of the cycle stuff, and you can get out without impacting your price. But this does matter if it's low liquidity and you have a decent amount in there, you're not going to be able to get out for the price you want. So you do got to keep that in mind too.
If you're a whale, don't get into the small caps, maybe.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, and Adrian, before we jump into the 5 tokens that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about aiXBT, SUI, XRP, ZEREBRO, and Toncoin or Ton. What are the what are there's different factors other than liquidity. What are the other factors that you're looking at when you're evaluating each of these tokens? Because I think that the simplicity through which this token center operates is amazing for everybody that comes in and wants to use it. It's so simple and so easy to digest the content, but that also can make people think, oh, this must have been simple to build, which it wasn't.
Exactly. The hard thing is to gather all of this information, then break it down into 2 small sentences. I hope we did a good job with that, but so far the community was quite happy about it. But certainly the social and community, social sentiment and the mind share on Twitter, for example, is a huge factor, because crypto is an attention economy, and especially the smaller coins, you just need the engagement, you need the KOLs talking about them, you need the mentions, and basically what we are doing is we are checking all the different social media channels. We are using analysis tools on the one side, something like Cato, to get the mind share. We had a mind share of 50% of AI, for example, in the Q4 of 2024. That's one of the reasons why a big part of the tokens in the token center are AI related. But of course, we're also into different discords from these project teams. I'm in a lot of Telegram channels, try to gather information there. And from all of that, we try to reduce the information as much as possible, aggregate all of that, and then give it a rating.
Incredible. So you're doing all the work for everybody here so that they don't have to go join every Discord group and every Telegram and do all this research. You're just condensing it, as you said, which is very challenging to condense it down to just a few sentences.
I mean, there's a lot, right? Like there's understanding the social aspects, like Adrian just mentioned. There's understanding kind of price action, so previous price action in tokenomics. So like, has something pumped for the last like 6 months? If it has, is it now out of new buyers, right? Like people that just came into the space, they probably don't know that. They just see, oh, hype or whatever token is like got all the hype, no pun intended. And it's been pumping for forever. Everyone's talking about it. And it's like, well, is that the top for this thing though? Like, can that thing really keep going? And if you haven't been tracking, you haven't been paying attention into, how much liquidity has gone in there, what the sentiment is like today or what it was previously. And then also some of the fundamental stuff, what's coming, what news are they going to be launching, what, next products or next, versions are they going to be launching? Will that gain attention? Or are they going to launch something with their tokens, like Virtuals, launch something to change their tokenomics? And it kind of changed the game. And it got like a pump of like, I don't know what that percentage was, but almost like 100% in like 2 days, right? So these things all kind of matter. And I think what Adrian does and the pro team in general is we look at all this stuff, we discuss it, we sort of say, what's the importance, what matters here? And then we try to turn it into a rating. And that rating is either green, yellow, or red, which is bullish, bearish, or neutral. And just to clarify, because I know that this is going to be a problem, is bullish, bearish, and neutral doesn't mean if I put bearish or Adrian puts bearish, it doesn't mean the price will go down. Okay. It means it won't we don't think it will outperform the market. Remember, the market goes up quite a bit. And so generally, even something bearish will probably do better than most stocks, right? Like you can hold any token we have that's bearish, it probably still does better. But what we're trying to do is here, what's going to outperform or underperform or stay at the same as the general crypto market itself. That's kind of what the ratings you're going to see when you pull this up. And what we'll be discussing is if we're bullish, bearish, or neutral, it's compared to the market itself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I guess on the flip side, just because you say bullish doesn't mean it's up only for that token.
No, well, the other thing is like, so when Adrian's talking about looking at sentiment and social stats, all these things, this is different than what Martin usually talks about when we come on the show and what our pro portfolio is. Our pro portfolio is more long-term investing. There's some narrative stuff in there, but it's mainly around something we're holding for the cycle. The way this token center is set up is, hey, there's a lot of new tokens. They are hot and they become hot and then they become cold pretty quickly. And what we're trying to do is say, hey, here's our rating on these things if we think they're going to stay hot or not. And it's more short term, like 3 months, maybe 6 months, right? What we're going to do here is every token on this list, we will update at a 3 month mark or before if things happen to change, news or sentiment or something happens, right? Like, for example, Thorchain, it's not on our list, but if it was, it went basically is potentially going insolvent yesterday, right? So like we'd have to update our thesis obviously real quick as crazy kind of black swan events happen like that. But this is very different than the full portfolio we typically hold, which is more long-term or medium-term in nature. This is very short-term to understand, hey, here's hype. What do we really think about it? What's probably going to happen, right? So it's a different style of investing for sure.
Okay, awesome. Let's jump in and take a look unless you guys have
before we do, I want to say one more thing actually. when investing in the way that we're talking about here, when looking more at social aspects and narrative, and let's call it pumpamentals instead of fundamentals, this should not be the bulk of your portfolio. Okay. This is why we did this. Is most of our portfolio is what we show in the pro portfolio, right? A lot of that is majors. A lot of that is very fundamentally strong assets that we feel we could hold for the next 5 years, and they are going to do well, right? That's the purpose over there. What this is, when you're playing narratives, when you're playing social stuff, this is gambling. This is not really investing. This is gambling. I say this all the time in the podcast. And so this is a small percent of your portfolio you want to be doing in these. Now, some of these become a larger part of your portfolio. If they do start to build out fundamentals, get network effects, gain adoption, et cetera, they can move into the pro portfolio, right? Some of these that we have in here are in our pro portfolio. So I'm not saying that they remain small and you always have to be trading these things, but you need to be a little bit more nimble here, and you want this to be a smaller part of your total portfolio, because you never know with these kind of things. They're newer, they move faster, they move based off narratives, as Adrian said. And so like, this isn't where you want to park 90% of your portfolio, right? If you want to figure out what to do there, go check the pro portfolio. And then if you want to have some fun, you want to try to hit some 100Xers, that's where this comes in.
Especially with a bull market that is so hard to handle like this one, because the narratives, they are coming and going extremely fast. And
Yeah.
I guess many new investors will get burned with jumping into new tokens.
Well, and that's the problem. Is I always say this, which is like, it's not hard to do well in crypto. It really is not hard. If you just bought Bitcoin and just hold on to it, you will do better than every other asset in the entire world, right? Now, of course, if you held Solana or ETH last cycle, then you outperformed Bitcoin, okay? And of course, if you held Fartcoin, you also outperformed, but the chances were quite slim, right? And especially for you getting it much earlier. And so like, you got to make sure that if you're in crypto, you have to make sure that you at least are going to succeed from it. And that's by keeping most of your portfolio in the things that are low risk, right? And in crypto, everything is high risk, but lower risk, let's call it. Then it's okay to punt some of your portfolio to try to get the big wins, because I know everyone wants that to catch up, to be able to buy the house or the nice car or whatever you want. But the worst thing, and I see this all the time, is someone goes through a whole cycle, 4 years, and they end up with nothing. And it's because they just tried to punt meme coins the whole time. They didn't buy the stuff that was obviously going to continue to go up long term. So that's the disclaimer.
I was absolutely terrified that we're going to show this token center, and everybody listening is just going to go buy the bullish tokens. And
that was our big debate. We weren't
Yeah.
even sure if we wanted to launch this, because we're like, man, the problem is everyone's going to go and they're going to just put their whole portfolio into some of these tokens. And I'm like, that's the last thing we want. Even a few people said it in our Discord. I was like, is this going to be dangerous for people? And I was like, look, people are going to put money in these other tokens anyway. We might as well help guide and give them some analysis and make it easier for them. As long as we do have disclaimers all over this token center, it's like, use a small percentage of your portfolio for this. So hopefully people listen, but I know most of you won't, but that's your fault, not ours.
At your own demise. At your own demise. Okay, let's take a look at the 5 tokens we're going to talk about today. So for those watching, I got the token center up on the screen. For those listening, we're going to talk about aiXBT, which has a bullish rating. SUI's got a bullish rating. XRP's got neutral. ZEREBRO's got neutral. And TON is bearish. So we're going to go through each one of these and talk about them. Adrian, start us off with aiXBT.
Exactly. aiXBT is basically the most famous influencer now on Twitter, and it's an AI agent. Started last year in October, and it became so successful. It's really crazy. The mind share of all agents, it really dominated it for some time. It had about 20% of mind share of all agents on Twitter. And it gives actionable alpha. That's the cool new thing about it. It launched by Virtuals, but actually there's a team building on it for quite some time, and they also have their custom code. They are not only using the game framework by Virtuals, and its performance is absolutely crazy. Even in the last 30 days, it's by far the most successful agent, I guess.
Chart is up and to the right only, isn't it?
Yeah, up 120% in the last 30 days.
Yeah, the thesis is fairly simple here. And that the kind of idea here of what we're trying to do in this token center is make a simple thesis. Because that's really how you got to play these kind of narratives. It's like, keep it simple, because if it's simple for us to understand, then it's simple for the other buyers to understand. If it's very complex and in depth, and it's more like fundamentals and you had to like dig through the tech, it's like, well, then most people aren't going to come up with that same conclusion. And so they're probably not going to buy that token, right? But these are very simple here, which is aiXBT currently has almost, I think it's about 400,000 followers on Twitter, and it's growing. Yeah, it's growing fast, right? And I see no reason for that to slow down. And so the more followers it gets, there's more people that are probably going to buy its token, right? It's pretty simple. And the more followers it gets, the more it can get more followers, right? That's kind of network effects. And aiXBT is the one that's kind of doing that. Now, maybe giving alpha on Twitter isn't the be all end all, and it starts to launch more things, right? I think it's getting a terminal, or already has it. It's changing away its business models. Like, there are fundamental things coming underneath the business they're building here. But ultimately, I think so long as the Twitter followers continues to grow in aiXBT, we don't see any reason why its token price won't continue to go, especially as long as AI agents continues to be in the narrative, the hot narrative. And what happened yesterday? OpenAI launched its first AI agent. And so if you don't think that AI agents are going to continue to get more popular, then you're not paying attention here, because yes, in crypto, it's very popular, but most of the world still doesn't really get AI agents. But when OpenAI starts doing it, and now you can use it in ChatGPT, not aiXBT, obviously, but you can start to learn and use AI agents, that narrative, that meta is only going to pick up. And so I think aiXBT is set up well to capitalize on that narrative that we think is going to drive 2025.
So simple. Go ahead.
Exactly. And in many cases, it just works to invest in the winner.
Yeah,
it's basically, it has the most mind share. It is the first mover, and there is maybe a new subscription model coming, because right now for the terminal access you need about $400,000 US dollars. That's a little bit too much for most investors, but there's that coming.
That's because you have to, in order to access the terminal, you have to hold $400,000 roughly worth of aiXBT token.
Right. It wasn't that much when they first launched, but the token's gone up so much that it's outpriced the product. Which, I mean, they should have known that. That's how it typically works. But it helped, I guess, drive some demand to the token. But now they'll move to a more membership model. Basically, what aiXBT is trying to do is take over Milk Road and make our business and our model not necessary anymore.
Obsolete.
Yeah. So we are betting on this because it's the only way we can hedge our own business.
So fairly simple thesis, and I love the way you guys are simplifying the thesis here. Thesis, first part is AI agents continue to perform as a meta and as a narrative. Assuming that happens, then aiXBT will likely be the leader because it has the biggest distribution channel in its Twitter following, which has established it. Plus, it has AI in the name, which is very attractive to some new investor who doesn't really know tokens, and they see AI in a token that's very hot. Liquidity begets liquidity, so it's going to continue to grow. Currently sitting at about a 600 million market cap. Do you guys have any estimates or thoughts on what this could do?
Giving predictions on tokens that are small and new is so difficult. And so we don't have any of those right now. It's just going to depend on how long does this narrative continue to ride for. And I think what Adrian said was really, really key advice for investors, which is let your winners win. Like, if they're already winning, that's probably the one you want to continue to bet on, right? It's kind of like Bitcoin started doing well, and it just has continued to do well for 15 years. ETH, Sol, same thing. These are the big smart contract platforms. They're probably going to be the ones that continue to go, right? Even the way that we invested in the AI frameworks, we'll not talk about that here, but that's in our pro portfolio. It's like there's a few that are standouts. You probably just want to go into those because they're going to continue to go. Pumped Up Fund was the winner. There's been a million Pumped Up Fund competitors. Nothing's come even close, right? Usually once something's kind of won, it really generally has legs. And so that's a good way to invest. And meme coins have been the same, like Doge, Pepe, Dog with Hat. It's like they won and then they kept winning and they kept winning and they kept winning, right? Usually that's the way you want to do it in a new industry or sector.
Okay, let's go to the next, which is SUI, which has been one of the biggest winners of the past 6 months already. But you guys are giving it a bullish rating, still feeling very good about SUI. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, certainly the most successful layer one next to Solana this cycle. SUI making waves, and it has a very good momentum. I am also in some communities with a lot of Asian guys, and they're extremely bullish on SUI. They really love it. I think they did a lot of marketing also with KOLs, and especially in Asia. So that one might be one of the reasons. And it's just this layer one with momentum. It has a lot of transactions going on. It has good airdrops actually. So it's an interesting farming destination, but it's also extremely fast. It's cheap. And by contrast to Solana, it went down and it didn't have so many scalability problems so far. So that might actually be an edge compared to Solana. We're not talking about tokenomics here. These are difficult because the fully diluted valuation is very big and there's a lot of early investors that still have a lot of coins. So you see here 13 billion market cap and 44 billion fully diluted valuation. But yeah, it's basically the same. The winners typically keep winning. We are evaluating this on a regular time, of course. And if there's happening something before the next 3 months, before we do a whole evaluation of the token center, let's say Parachain comes out, it draws a lot of liquidity from other layer ones, and SUI might be not so hot anymore, then our outlook could certainly also change. But for now,
Yeah.
it's a winner, and we like these.
Yeah, for me, I see SUI as the Solana of last cycle, right? It is basically all it is. It's got the hot narrative. Like, sure, is the tech better? Maybe. I don't think anyone actually really cares.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it hasn't gone down. No, and it's because it has no usage, and so like, there's no reason for it to go down. If it was going down now, that'd be crazy. Because fundamentally, SUI makes zero sense, except for the fact that it's got Facebook's old team, right? And so it's a really good team. It does have really good tech, like potentially, right? But it's never really been battle tested. But this is the same story of like Solana last cycle. Solana went through the roof. I think it went close to 100 billion market cap. I don't know if it actually made it there last cycle, but for no reason. It didn't have the adoption like it has today. Like today, Solana is now like a fundamental bet. But last cycle, it was just a thing. It caught the narrative. It had the potential because it was high throughput chain. It had this like pretty good team that people were like, oh, they used to work for Oracle or whatever it was that Atoll used to work for. And so like it just kind of had that like, let's call it Riz, as I think the kids say it these days.
You're so fucking cool, man.
I have no idea if that's the right way to use Riz, but anyway, it just had that thing. And I think SUI basically has it this time around. And so I see no reason why this thing doesn't go much higher. I think SUI can go above 100 billion. However, the one caveat is, like we said, doesn't really have fundamentals. It's more a bunch of people like betting on it. And so if something like Bearchain or any of these other layer one competitors sucks a bunch of liquidity out of it, that could be the one issue. But if you look at the chart versus SUI versus Sol, I don't have it up right now. Otherwise, I'd show it. It's just crushing Sol, and it looks like it's about to break out even more. And so, yeah, still remain very bullish on SUI.
So trade here is basically the next Solana, and it's got the momentum for that. It already basically has that narrative. So why not continue it for the rest of the cycle? Keep it simple.
And that's the key. The rest of the cycle. This is not at all something you want to be holding at the end. If we go into a bear market, when liquidity is exiting crypto, you want to be out of this thing fast. Because as Adrian said, there was a lot of capital in here from VCs and the original people who invested, who have a shit ton of tokens and they can't sell them yet, or they just haven't sold them yet. And most investors in here are not investing in it because they see this fundamentally strong, but it's because they see it as the next Solana. And so like, it's a game that everyone kind of knows that's in it. I think we did a video on this last year, and I said this thing was going to rip and it's going to be the Solana of last year. And it's kind of, everyone's just going to play it together, and you just don't want to be the last one in it. And so far it's played out. I think when we did that, it was around 10 billion. So it's like 4x since we had that video, or 2x, something like that. I think it's still going to do really well, but you don't want to be in this thing at the end of the cycle. That's for sure.
Yeah, these tokenomics are primed that it goes down 90% in the bull market.
It's almost a guarantee. Yeah, it's almost a guarantee.
I gotta ask quickly about that. Is there any unlocks coming up in the near term that are concerning here?
Every month there's huge unlocks. Actually, I think it's about 2%.
But it's not, in bull markets. It's not about unlocks. Supply doesn't matter. It's all demand, right? Supply is very irrelevant in a bull market. That matters in a bear market, which is why we're saying get the hell out when the bear market comes, and make sure you're out before the bear market comes. Because, Bitcoin will go from whatever 200,000 to 150 or 100,000 over a few months span. SUI will go from whatever it ends up at, let's say $20 or $30, down to freaking $5 in like a week, right? So you don't have much time in these kind of assets where everyone's just going to exit at the same time. And there's unlocks also happening at the same time.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear more about SUI, go back and listen to our episode with Jamie Coots from a few weeks ago from Real Vision, and he gives his estimate for SUI, his price prediction, his market cap prediction for this cycle. It's quite bullish. TLDR for you guys, but go check that out. Okay, let's go to our next token here. What do we got next? Let me pull this up quickly. Give me a sec.
XRP.
XRP made the token center. Okay.
Love it or hate it.
If you guys could get the XRP community behind our YouTube show, I'd be very excited about that. So
yeah, that's a reason why we talk about the XRP army. I mean, they have this massive community at their back, but we at least are not really bullish on the team or the tech of XRP. We're more neutral because this community and all of these engaged people and all of the traders that also like to gamble with XRP, that's kind of bullish, but Team Tech is also kind of bearish. They had this huge problems with the lawsuits. This might change under the new Trump administration, but so far we are not convinced by it. But I think Kyle also has more of an opinion on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like fundamentally not bullish. However, pumpamentals can be very bullish. And the reason pumpamentals can be bullish is, as you said, they did have a lot of lawsuits. They did have a lot of like problems with the courts in the US, but that's probably going away, right? They're probably getting an ETF. They might be part of this new digital asset stockpile or whatever the heck it is that Trump's talking about here with their executive order, because it's an American made token. So like it has these like random things that could make it a good bet. Now it's gone up insane. That chart is the weirdest chart you've ever seen. And so
this
for
is the
me,
most pumpamental chart I've ever
yeah,
seen.
exactly. That's, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where to invest in XRP makes no sense, in my opinion. Okay. But to gamble in XRP might actually be really, really smart. Now, at this point where it's basically at all-time highs, I don't know anymore, but you can't really fade this thing. And so to put a bearish on XRP just makes no sense, because there are weird things that can make this thing go up. And not even just weird things, actually. Like dropping a lawsuit is obviously going to make this thing pump. Getting an ETF, maybe. It also could be a bad thing if it doesn't actually see good inflows. So like, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. We'll see, but there's going to be some sort of pump when if that gets approved. And then of course, if Trump happens to do something with these American tokens, then XRP is going to be a part of that. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where you just never know with this one. It's why I wouldn't hold it long-term, but it might be, it's kind of like a meme coin, right? If you want to gamble around and play with it, then absolutely. And the other thing I would say is, if you don't hear about it much on Twitter, but if you go on TikTok, XRP is the only token that exists on there. That's what everyone talks about on TikTok. And so like, that's where a lot of this pump has come from, is new people from TikTok that have like, there's influencers over on TikTok that are saying like XRP to $1,000. Like it would make its market cap at like trillions. It makes no sense, but that's how the XRP army works, I guess.
It's so funny because on crypto Twitter, many say it's a boomer coin, but TikTok is exactly the opposite from a boomer coin.
Yeah. It's probably a play from what XRP's done. They were like, hey, let's go and like, attack TikTok and get all the KOLs over there instead of on Twitter, because when they try to post on Twitter, they get shut down by everyone who's been in crypto for so long. But if you go on TikTok, we're not there. And so there's no one to be like, oh no, this guy's lying. It's not going to go to 1,000. Everyone's like, absolutely, it could do that,
Yeah, they just have this advantage for so long. If you Google what crypto to buy next to Bitcoin and Ethereum, what comes up? XRP.
Yeah. So they've got tactics that you just can't deny. And so that's why we don't make it bearish. And we almost put it bullish.
Okay, almost. What is the status of the lawsuit on XRP? Because they won, but then there was the appeal. For some reason, I think there's still something ongoing. That aren't we waiting for likely Trump to do something, or that all should be dropped, I would assume, by the SEC soon.
Yeah, tough to say. We don't know. We're kind of, it's in limbo. We don't know what's going to happen yet.
Right. But that's what you're saying. That could be a pump too if there was news like that.
100%.
Okay. Let's go to next up. We're going back to AI agents. We got ZEREBRO.
Exactly. We want in our token center diversity, and not every AI agent is the same. With ZEREBRO, we basically have something that is more free, that is not a standard solution, like with other AI frameworks, like you have it with Virtuous, for example, or also AI16Z. And it's just very different. It's more this art focused, it's music focused, it's this cultural thing kind of that can really bring something new on the table. That is also doing Ethereum staking right now with his own validator. So really trying new stuff, what an agent can do. It has a cool young team. They are really working on this thing, but we are not quite sure, will it really see its breakthrough? Will there be more than partnerships, more than an initial token hype? We need to see. So that's more why we are neutral on it. It has certainly its interesting factors. It's just exciting. It's cool to talk to. It has this Gen Z vibe kind of, but it needs more fundamentals maybe.
They just don't have a clear direction. Like, it's like they are launching a launch pad, I guess, but they're kind of just behind everything else, right? They're just a little bit behind most others. So we'll see. You never know. Maybe they can catch up. Maybe they can catch the limelight. But like, as an AI agent, you have aiXBT, which has more limelight. As a framework or a launch pad, you have like Virtuals and Eliza and some of the others that really have the limelight there and already have the user base. And so, ZEREBRO is going to try and build some things, and we'll see what they can do. But tough to see them outperform some of the existing winners today.
I pull up the chart here on screen. They certainly had the limelight, and then the chart would indicate that they lost it. And will they get it back?
I mean, they didn't really have it. It pumps here, but that was kind of off the backs of Virtuals and Eliza pumping. It was kind of like, whoa, well, this ZEREBRO thing's kind of similar to these, and it's only valued at, at the time, it was like, I don't know, 50 million or something like that. And so like it had this crazy pump because everything was pumping in AI, right? But you when you look at the charts, you notice this wasn't the leader. This wasn't the one catching the narrative and like causing the narrative and like pushing the thing forward. It just happened to be a part of it, and that's not the kind of bets you want to make, in my opinion. You want to be the one that's the leader, right? And so ZEREBRO could get there. We're definitely fans of what ZEREBRO's doing. There's not there yet, and so it's hard to put a green on it. I don't see it like outperforming the other ones that I think are going to do really well.
Okay, so neutral rating for ZEREBRO. Let's go to the last token we're talking about today, which you mentioned earlier in the show, Adrian, TON.
Yeah, Toncoin has the huge brand of Telegram behind it, so that's definitely a huge advantage, of course. But it struggles a little bit with centralization, and also it has this very strong layer one competition, like SUI, for example. And in our view, there's not really a catalyst that comes after the play-to-earn meta in 2024 in the summer. I know how much I used Telegram at that time. I don't know why exactly, because it was just peanuts what you got, but there wasn't really anything to do. It was so boring in the summer. We had basically a little bear market in the bull market. So they have really, really a lot of potential, this huge distribution, billions of Telegram users, but what are they doing with it right now? And what will it become?
It was one of those things where they had the limelight and the thing went crazy and it pumped from nothing to, whatever it was, 50 billion or something it made it to. I think it was close to 50 billion FTV anyway. It's currently sitting at 26, which is valued pretty dang high, right? And the problem is it just hasn't done anything since all that hype. Nothing's really came of it. The apps that it created were all pretty stupid and were all incentivized. And then when those incentives went away, just nothing else was there, right? Now, incentivizing a network to bring people in is usually a good thing if you then have something sticky, something and a reason for people to stick around. And it hasn't really had it. And then the other thing that really gave us the bearish mark of this is all of a sudden there was like Base and Near also building apps under Telegram. And so it's like, well, is Tawny even the Telegram chain or what? Now that changed yesterday. So when we made this, we put it a red mainly because of that. We're like, hey, this thing does still have distribution. So like it could come back anytime. If they did launch a pretty stellar app, they've got the people there, right? It's like Coinbase and Base, right? Whatever Base does, as long as they've got something good, Coinbase is going to send people there. That's what can happen with Toncoin. The problem is just none of it's happened. Now, we almost changed this rating because yesterday they announced that all projects building on anything other than Toncoin that are using Telegram have to merge over to Ton or they have to shut down. So like, okay, good thing for Ton. Also kind of weird, right? That like they're forcing everyone to use this one chain or they have to shut down. So like we don't really know how the community is going to take that. So we're keeping it red for now. And maybe that changes, but for now, just don't see a reason why Ton is going to get its narrative back and valued at 26 billion already. There's no fundamental reason to buy this thing either.
This announcement that came out just yesterday. So let me just get this straight. That would force any crypto app on Telegram now has to migrate to Ton chain. They cannot use another chain anymore, which up till now, as you said, they've been able to use Base or near whatever chain they want.
So if they want to access the users of Telegram, it's got to be on Ton.
So just break down bullish, bearish side of that, because to me, pretty easy to see the bullish side of that. That would force a lot of apps to potentially, I guess it would be bullish if they all did actually migrate to Ton.
It'd be bullish if they do migrate. Yeah. Right. But then it's bearish for, I think, just like innovation, because now there's not a lot of people that build and know the tools of Ton. And so, but there are a lot on Base, for example, right? And now you've just said none of them can come and use Telegram. And so you're going to have less cool apps being built under the Telegram umbrella, right? Because everyone who's on Base, they're not now just going to go move over to Ton. Some of them might move their app over there, but like all the existing builders that were on Base that could have just, like, let's say you have Aerodrome, you could just all of a sudden connect that into Telegram, and now you can use Aerodrome in Telegram. That would have been sick. Now it's not possible, right? So all of the liquidity, all of the devs, everything that exists in the rest of the crypto world can now not be used on Telegram, right? Unless they, punt and move everything over to Ton, which means they got to rebuild their app, bring all the liquidity over. Like, it basically said, hey, we're not going to be involved with the rest of the crypto world. It's only Ton. So like, hey, if Ton really nails it and they can pull a Solana, for example, and like get a bunch of devs and create a bunch of stuff and innovate, then like it could be really good, because then everything's now on Ton. And obviously there's a shit ton of users over on Telegram. It's just so far Ton hasn't built anything of substance yet.
Yeah. So, and they definitely have to improve scalability, because right now smart contract interactions on Ton are too expensive. Normal transactions just for Ton are okay, but if you transacted before on a Base or on Nia, it was way, way cheaper.
So we'll see. Either Telegram's going to backtrack and be like, all right, never mind, we gave you a chance, Ton, now everyone come back, or Ton's going to have to figure it out. So we'll see where it goes. But now, bearish.
All right, well, that's the 5 tokens you guys are giving us today. Thanks for giving us the alpha, gents. If you guys want some more alpha, we got a whole bunch more tokens on here: Pendle, Prime, Akash Render, Ondo, Tau, SPX, Aptos, Virtual, AI16Z, Hyperliquid's on here, and a whole bunch more. If you guys want the rating on those tokens, hit the link in the show notes or the QR code on screen and sign up for Milk Road Pro to get full access to the token center and so much more.
For those of you who are pro members, just log in and you can see it. It just is included in your membership. You don't have to do anything. You just already get it. Just go log in and check it out.
Gents, thanks so much for joining us today and giving us the alpha on these 5 tokens, or the alpha, or the what's the bearish version of alpha? What's the word for that? The beta? I don't even know. Letting us know what to avoid, that is certainly getting a lot of attention, because as we said at the beginning, that's the hardest thing here, is to know what to go into and what not to go into. Appreciate your time, gents. Everybody listening in, let us know, what do you guys think about these tokens that we discussed today? You guys bullish? You guys bearish on these? What are your thoughts? Throw a comment in the comments on YouTube or wherever you listen. And also do me a favor, subscribe and like the show. It's a huge help for us. We much appreciate you guys. Have a wicked awesome day, everybody. Thanks for listening in. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.